Hello. So I have found these wonderful step-by-step directions to make a little city in the snow, and then look at these fabulous swirls in the sky. And I also have my Snowman at Night book. If you have not read that, you really should. What a wonderful book. And I really liked this page in the book, this illustration, because it has all these different shaped buildings with lots of thick snow that's landed on the roofs. So we can kind of look at both of them and make some of the buildings a little bit different so they're not all rectangles. But we're going to use the sky in this picture as an inspiration. Of course, you can always add the moon and the stars. So this is a landscape, and since I'm looking and I want to incorporate a lot of these buildings, I am going to make my paper horizontal instead of vertical. Could you do it vertical? You could do a tall building, couldn't you? Absolutely. If you wanted to make some skyscrapers or something like that, you could absolutely do that. So let me have my book up here, my directions right here. Okay, very good. And I'm going to be using Sharpie so that you can see it, but of course, use pencil so you can erase any mistakes. All right, so the very first thing, what did they start with on the directions? They started with the ground. And that is not going to be perfectly straight, right? Because it's a snowy ground. So I'm going to add my little line here at the bottom, and I'm doing it lower at the bottom in the foreground of my landscape. Foreground, so that I have lots of room for the building. So you wouldn't want this to be too high. You'd run out of space. And I also want room for all those twirly spirals in the sky. Okay, so now I'm going to start with my buildings. And if you notice in here, the artist didn't just do 1, 2, 3, do them all in a row. They kind of bounce around because you want some buildings in front and some behind. So I'm going to start with this simple shape right here, right? 2 lines going up. And if you notice, I'm not making it too tall. Again, I want room. I want to leave all this background up here for those spirals. So I don't want my buildings to get too high. And then it's just like a thin, kind of wavy, and go right back just like that. Okay, now this is where I'm going to look here, and I'm going to add some different shapes in. I'm going to add, I like this little one, and look, I'm going to start with a round trapezoid, and I don't want it to be too sharp because it's got snow on it. And then I'm just going to put 2 little rectangles for windows, and then 2 lines going down. Boop, boop. All right, we can do that. Now I want to add in one of these roofs. So I'm going to start off with my 2 lines again. Now here I might put, let's see, I think I'll put it right here. 2 lines. This one's going to be a little bit taller. And then I'm going to go up, boop, not perfectly straight. And then here I'm just going to round it, almost like I'm making a bubble letter, and go around it like this. I'll add the windows in a little bit. So now I'm getting the buildings that are in the front. Now I can do some more in the back. So I'm going to have this little guy go behind, and look, I'm going to just jump up, make a wavy line to the edge, wavy line there. Boop. Okay, I could do a little building right here. Could you add other detail in, like a little snowman or someone walking in the snow, or a street lamp? Absolutely. You could add whatever you want on there. A little evergreen tree. Now I'm going to add, I think I want one more of these little houses like this. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to go up and down, and then make my wavy big snow. That's some thick snow landing on there, just like that. Now I can go in and add some more of my look. I love how they have the little skinny one right there. I think I'm going to add a little skinny one. I'm just going to start with that line and go down. And here I'm just going to make a little wavy line and go whoop, down, down. So these houses are overlapping, right? You have some that are in front and some behind, because they wouldn't all just be right next to each other if you're looking kind of out into a scene like this. I like how there's one kind of tall one there too. Could I add one little tall one? Maybe that whole thing is covered with snow. That's going to go right back there, just like that. And then maybe have one more. You can get really layered. I mean, you can add a lot of little buildings to this and go back, but again, I want to leave all this space up here for my spirals. Okay, then you can go in and add your windows. Now here they've made the windows little squares, so if you want to keep it simple and just add your little squares in, you can do that. So I'm going to go in and just add some little squares. I'm not worried about it being perfect. Can I add some other shapes to it? Yep, I'm gonna add a little circle and maybe some taller windows. I like that little bit of variety. Here I am just gonna add some little squares, Maybe this one's gonna have a tall window. And I do have to go behind. That's why you wanna work in the front first. You wanna get all that done in the front. Little square windows. So go ahead and add those all in, take your time. You don't have to do a ton. You can always make them a little bit bigger, like if you just do some bigger windows like that. All right, now I am ready for my spiral. Oh, those windows got a little funny. I'm ready for my spiral sky. That one I'm making the windows a little bit smaller because they're further away. And here I'm gonna do a little half circle window. Look at that. Could you add chimneys? Absolutely. Okay, so for the spirals, look at how they've started with the 3 main ones first. And when I do a spiral, there's 2 different ways. So one is you can start in the middle and curve out, and you just get bigger and bigger and bigger, okay? The other way is to start on the outside. So let's say I know I want it to be this big, and I like starting on the outside for this one because I want it to start on the top, just like that. So I'm gonna go out, and it's almost like I'm gonna make a number 6, but then I never touch it, and I just keep going in and stop in the middle. And then here, I'm gonna spiral out. So I think on this one I can start. Now if I hit a building, look, I just jump over it, and I keep going until I hit the edge. So now I've got my 3 main spirals. Could you add a moon in there? Could you do lots of little spirals? Absolutely. So now I think I'm gonna add one big line just like this. And then you can just add some lines curving in the background. Those spirals going behind. Maybe there's one here. Maybe this one comes back like this and then stops right here. Kind of up to you how you want to fill it in. Okay, and I'm gonna go this way and go up like that. Oh, look. Oh, I need a little building here, I think. What do you think? Yes. Okay, so now I've got my big spirals. Ooh, very nice. Okay. Again, you can add other detail. You could add other things in your picture. Now, for this, it looks a little bit like it's been painted. And one thing you can do is if you have washable markers, you can actually take your marker and draw the line here, and I'll actually show you like this. So I'm going to show you a couple different ways we can do this. Okay, so I'm going to do the big swirls here with my blue, and again it has to be washable marker, and I'm going to go down right, boop, 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 boop. In fact, I'm going to show you a couple different ways because we all have different materials. Now, if you have watercolor, you've got paint, watercolor paint, you've got a paintbrush and all that, you can work with that. Okay, now I'm gonna grab a little cup of water. So you work on that for a second. Hold on. Okay, I'm back. I have a little cup of water and I have a little paintbrush, little cup of water. Now I'm gonna use my paintbrush, and oh, do you see how the blue is already spreading out? Look at that. Why is it spreading out? Because it's washable. It's washable. So I'm just using a marker and water. Now, if you had watercolor paint, you could be dipping it in there. You could add some purple in there. So I'm gonna let that be. Now, another thing I can do is I can use a combination of markers and crayons. So I might have some blue, and you could do where you, like this one, I'm gonna do it really lightly, and I'm gonna blend it with another blue. So I'm gonna go kind of darker to lighter. And when I go around the whole thing, I'm gonna do the darker part, and then I'm gonna go in a little bit lighter. And all I'm doing when I go lighter is just pressing down, not as hard. So I press down harder, and then I get a little bit lighter, 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 harder, lighter, 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 lighter. Then I can go in with my blue crayon Now, if you want to get and do it in a different way, you could do one row of that blue. I happen to have a lot of blue crayons next to me right now. One row of that blue, and you can make it almost like different stripes of different blues. Ooh, that one's getting darker. I like that. And you could go around it and have all these different blues going around. So there's a couple of different ways you can do that. The houses and buildings could be whatever color you want. I kind of like how they've used these oranges and pinks and browns. I think that looks really nice, so I might use that idea for mine, making sure I leave the white of the paper, just leave it plain for the snow and down here. And you could add, like, if you wanted to add little lines of blue, and again, I'm using that marker, then you could go in and just give it a light brush with the paintbrush and water, and it almost look like little shadows in the snow. So I might do it like that, and then I might just leave it just like that and let it dry. So I'm gonna work on coloring in my buildings. Ooh, isn't that a pretty color? I think those look nice with the blue sky. And I'm coloring really carefully and taking my time. So good luck making this your own and using this as an inspiration.